Welcome to the Honeyville Kitchen. I am Chef Tess, and I am here today with one of my all-time favorite chefs. This is the amazing Chef Brad Peterson, America's Grain Guy. Chef Brad has his own show on KBYU, and it is very well known for its amazing quality, and just the recipes you teach are always so fun and good. And we invited you to be here in the Honeyville Kitchen today because we are very excited about how we have this synergy with how we both feel about grains and making things healthy. And so I want to have you talk a little bit to our people about the tools that you use and that we both use and that we enjoy. So,
perfect. Well, first off, I'm thrilled to be here with Chef Tess. The thing I love about Chef Tess is both of us, our energy level is really high. And we love that. You have to have passion about what you do.
Yes.
And we both do. That's the one thing we do have in common. And we both love grains, and we both love baking bread.
And our last name is Peterson.
And our last name is Peterson. That's right. That's right. We related somehow? Somewhere.
Like third cousins or something. Okay, so
to make bread, and we're both passionate about this, we really feel strongly that really to make good bread, you have to have the proper equipment and the proper ingredients.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk about the proper equipment first, and then we're going to talk about the ingredients when we actually go through the bread making process. But for the proper equipment, really, you have to have a good mixer, don't you?
You do. Something strong that can really do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and to do the whole grain ones in today's world, really, because people are so busy, a great mixer really allows you to add that nutrition to it.
Cuts the time in half.
And have a good end product.
Exactly. Beautiful
Which is
quality.
so important.
Yes.
And we love the Bosch because it does that. It's designed. And I love how you explain how it works. Could you give us that little demonstration?
The dough goes like this instead of like this. Right?
And that is really important because the way it needs, it really works that gluten up, even when you're doing whole grains like we're going to do today.
Yeah.
It's so important. So you have to have a good mixer, and we just can't say enough about that. No. And then next to the mixer, really, I think one of the most essential pieces of equipment that you need in the kitchen. In fact, there's 3 pieces of equipment you have to have. We're going to talk about all 3 of them sometime today, but a mixer, a mill, and then a pressure cooker. To be healthy, you have to have all 3 of those. So the mill, and we love the Nutrimill. It's absolutely a beautiful mill. It's quiet.
It's quiet. It's very fast.
Very fast.
Very fast.
Yeah. Easy to clean.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Easy to use.
Easy to use. I like that you can just pull out with one finger and have your
there
flour
you go.
there, because I had one that was crazy hard to lift.
And you can grind everything in it.
Yes, everything.
Even popcorn.
Like corn. Big.
Yes, it's great. We love it. Now, we just want to say a couple things about a good mill. Don't get into that thing, and people always scare people when they tell them about a mill. Optimal nutrition is when you grind fresh, right?
Absolutely.
But don't be paranoid about that. Don't think if you grind and you don't use it, you've wasted your money. This flour, at its worst day, is far better than anything you could buy at the grocery store, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so don't stress about that. Just grind and be happy about it.
Enjoy it.
And this mill, one of the things we love about this mill is it has an attachment, which is our personal favorite attachment.
Yes, okay, this is the bagger. Okay, so what you do is you take the top motor off of the Nutrimill.
Just lifts off.
It goes right on top of a little bucket with a bag underneath, and it comes right over here, and it grinds right into your bag. So then you just zip it up, and you're good to go. You have flour.
Yes,
It's a lifesaver.
And we were laughing. One of our favorite things about this is when your neighbor doesn't have a grinder bag.
It's the borrowing neighbor
or
bag.
when your daughter-in-law, you want her to be healthier, you say bring the bag back, but bring the bag over and we'll grind for you. It's perfect for that, isn't it?
Yes.
And I love it because I love to just grind a bunch when I'm in the grinding mood, and then maybe stick it in my refrigerator or freezer.
You have it ready to go.
And I have it. So that is a great attachment to this grinder. It's the only one that has it, isn't it?
Yes, I love it.
So talking about grinders, why don't we grind?
Let's grind some wheat.
This is great. We love this.
What is your favorite grain for making bread? You like the hard wheat for bread?
I love the hard white wheat, and I actually have to tell you that Honeyville's hard white is fabulous.
It's so totally wrong.
It really is. It just has the right protein you need for bread. And the hard white wheat, one of the things we love about the hard white wheat, and I don't know how many of you know this, but one of the things we love about the hard white wheat is it is alkaline. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Versus acidic.
Yeah.
And so it's much easier to digest, and it makes a lighter loaf of bread. I love it.
It's so good.
It's so wonderful.
So
okay, so let's grind. So to grind, this comes off, and this is just a little hopper thing that allows you to add more grain into it, and that you can just fill it up top. And you can put 5 pounds of grain in here, and it will fill this little bucket up right here. So we want to make sure that's in there all the way. And then to grind, we usually have straight up and down for bread. So it says right here, the fineness. So we just like to go straight up and down for bread. So we're going to turn, what we're going to do is, and with this one, you can add the grain off or on. It works great. So we're just gonna dump our grain in here, which is great. Not the little packet.
Don't mill this.
Yeah. And then we're just gonna turn this on, and it's gonna take 3 or 4 minutes, and we're gonna have everything we need to make, and usually this makes one batch of bread for me.
Yeah, it does.
So I just do it, and it does a great batch of bread. So we're gonna turn this on, and then we're gonna show you how to make absolutely beautiful whole grain bread.
Okay, our grain is milled. Are we ready to make some bread?
Great, we've talked about the equipment. Now we're gonna talk about the ingredients.
Right.
You have to have the proper equipment. And you know what I love? I just have to take a moment and say what I love about Honeyville grains. They have all the proper ingredients.
Yes, they do.
They really do. Their stuff is just amazing.
So good, right?
I haven't tried anything, and they're not paying me to say this, but I haven't tried anything there yet that I haven't loved. And it's so important. You know, and I'm sure you found this, that the majority of people that can't make bread, it traces back to ingredients.
It absolutely does.
It really does.
It really
Absolutely.
makes a huge
From the
difference.
yeast to the flour to, and we're gonna talk about that as we go along. But first, what are we gonna do?
We are going to measure.
Measure, okay. So we have our water here.
How much?
6 cups of hot water.
Hot water. So how hot? Is it like hot,
You know
like
what?
smoking hot, or is it like baby temperature
Well,
hot?
let me tell you, I don't ever worry about how hot it is.
Yeah.
The way I mix my bread, you would have to worry about it if you added your yeast to it, but because we put the yeast on top, you don't have to worry about it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so it
I
doesn't
love
matter.
that.
I just use hot tap water.
Awesome.
Okay?
Okay.
So we have our hot tap water, and then our beautiful grains that we just ground.
It just came out, you guys. I love the smell of fresh ground
Oh, I
wheat.
love
Isn't
fresh
it the
ground.
best ever?
Yeah, it's just amazing.
And it totally changes the flavor of your bread. It doesn't have that, I don't know, off taste. Sometimes
Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And the texture. We're going to play on the flour for a minute, but we love it. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Okay.
So then we're going to add, Chef Tess and I have talked about this a lot. We're not fanatics about health and nutrition.
No.
If your family can do 100% whole wheat, good, but
Do it.
you know what? Most people aren't there yet.
No,
are
they aren't there yet. So, do 80%.
80%. So we're going to do about that. We're going to put about, now remember, this is the formula. For every cup of liquid, you're going to have about 3 cups of flour. So totally, we have 6 cups of water. So we're going to need about 18 cups of flour. So we're going to put about 12 cups of fresh ground.
Okay.
And then the rest, we're going to use that amazing artisan, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and add, I'm going to add this to...
Okay. Can you count? 3, 5. Did I throw you off?
No.
Okay. Oh, that smell.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Isn't that great? I swear, that takes me back to my childhood, that smell.
It's beautiful. Okay, so then we have, the way I start out, I put in my water, my flour, and then I add the other ingredients. So we can go ahead and add our oil, and just a good quality oil.
2/3 cup.
2/3 cup. Yeah.
Okay, and then
there's agave for our sweetener.
Okay.
And the thing about agave is it's high in inulin, so it really is great for baking.
It is.
It lifts it up and makes it nice.
It helps retain moisture too.
And
and that was 2/3 cup of the agave. And then
couple tablespoons of salt.
2 tablespoons of salt. Okay, now this.
And
dough
this
enhancer.
we're using the dough enhancer, the Honeyville dough enhancer, the dough conditioner. We love it. You know what it does? It gives you that bakery quality texture. And it extends the shelf life.
It really does.
It really is not
really
one of those. A lot of times you go to stores and they give you these little gimmick things to put in your bread. This isn't a gimmick.
No,
it really does work. And Honeyville's the best one I've tried.
It's amazing
It's really
stuff.
great. So we're gonna put that on there.
Okay, and then this is 2 cups of
This is 2 cups of the 9-grain cracked. And this really is gonna make this bread absolutely wonderful. It's a whole grain bread, but the secret is what we're gonna add next. So we're gonna put this on, and then the very last thing I do, before I start adding the other flour, is I put the yeast on top.
special yeast, right, Brad?
Yes, and you know what?
This is my favorite.
Isn't it usually the yeast the biggest culprit?
It really is. Like 99% of the time, if your bread isn't raising, it's because you don't have the right yeast.
Yeah, and usually we're able to cure someone's bread making problem simply by buy a good yeast, and we love SAF Instant. It's just really great. And notice I'm putting the yeast last on top. The reason is if my water was too hot, I don't want to kill it, so I'm going to sprinkle this on the top, and this is instant yeast. It's not, the old schools where you had to let it proof. This is instant.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to turn it on, and then we have this beautiful artisan flour, and this is a Honeyville flour, and it's an artisan flour. So it's made for these kind of breads,
It's award-winning for its beautiful quality for pastry chefs
oh,
all
it's
over
amazing.
the world. They just
But
love
let me tell you what I love about it. the next thing is it's bromine free.
Yeah.
You know, bromaines are toxic chemicals that are in most flours. They're horrible. But this one does not have
Clean.
it. And I am a white flour snob. I have to tell you
too.
that.
I'm
the
totally
only time
a
I
snob.
use it is when I bake yeasted breads, but I want a good one.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's amazing. People say, well, why can't I get my bread to turn out like that? Well, use a little bit of this. Even a couple cups of this, it's
Night and
amazing
day.
what it
Night
does.
and day.
So we're gonna turn on our mixer, and as it mixes, we're gonna add the flour until it cleans away the side. Now, this is the biggest thing why we love the Bosch. It will tell you when.
It will tell
the
you.
more flour, the stiffer the bread. And so that's what's beautiful about this. If you let your Bosch tell you when it starts to clean the sides, then you quit adding flour. It doesn't matter what the recipe says. You quit when your Bosch tells you, and you'll have the most beautiful bread ever. So we're gonna turn this on. There we go.
Okay.
And we're just gonna let it mix for just a minute, and it just takes a moment for us to see.
Very cool.
Isn't bread making the most
love
wonderful
bread.
thing? Oh.
It's such a fantastic
Okay, so now we're gonna start adding, that's pretty wet.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
moist.
now we're gonna start adding, and I know it's gonna need about 4 cups to start off with. Because remember, we did the measurement, about 16 cups of flour.
I love that when it starts like slowing down.
Yeah, then you know you're getting close.
Oh, no. Very cool.
And then for a big batch, we're gonna turn it to 3.
3, okay.
If you have to go to 4, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You're mixing cement if you have to go to 4. You don't want to do that. Okay, so you can just see how it's cleaning the sides there.
Excellent.
And that's what you want. It's doing your little, I love that. That's just so great. That's just so great. Okay, we're just gonna add a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Sprinkle a little bit more on there. Now, once it starts to clean the sides, that's when you start your timer. 6 minutes if you have good quality flour
6 minutes.
and yeast like we have
Okay.
is all you need. So we're gonna just set our timer to 6 minutes and then,
And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna make some loaves. What do you think?
wonderful.
All right. Okay, it's done. Are we ready?
Okay, so what I like to do, the very last thing is I like to just put a drop of oil in there and then it will coat it so it comes out easier.
Brilliant.
There we go.
Brilliant.
And then it's done.
So,
Isn't that beautiful?
texture. Tell me what this is supposed to look like.
This is a little sticky, but it's great. Don't worry about it being sticky because we're going to show you right now
Exactly.
how this works. So I always put a little bit of oil on my counter. And then I always take my hand and rub it in the oil because then the dough doesn't stick to my hand. So, and this is what I love about the Bosch is how it just lifts up so nice. So then we're going to take the dough hook out. Just slide that out.
And you can totally tell like the gluten is so developed by how like long and skinny and stringy
Yeah,
that
it's
gluten
stringy
looks.
and is that? Could you
That
grab
is-
that dough hook right there? There you go.
Oh.
Oops, there we go. Okay, now we're just gonna slide this out. It's a tiny bit sticky, but that's okay.
Because of that whole grain that's in there. It's
That's
gonna
right.
absorb
you
that.
Want it to
you want
be,
that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the biggest mistake people make is they follow the recipe and they add all the flour the recipe calls
Yes,
for.
don't do it.
that. So now look what happens when we just lightly coat it with a little bit of oil. The stickiness is gone.
Fabulous.
And look at the texture of that. The texture
so pretty.
is absolutely beautiful. And it has the whole grain in there. Now, you were talking about the moisture.
Yes.
The grains are gonna absorb the moisture, so they're not gonna be crunchy.
Right.
But you will have the texture in there, but not
Beautiful.
not that break your teeth texture.
Yeah, we don't want to break our teeth. No.
Yeah. Okay, so now the next step. One of the problems in baking bread at home is they put it in the pan and they expect a certain look, and by the time they get that look, it either falls or it's too heavy. We always weigh our dough. And this pan right here that we have holds 2 pounds of dough. So we're gonna weigh it first.
That's a 9 by 5.
It's a 9 by 5.
9
So
by
we're gonna weigh and get exactly 2 pounds first. So we just have it.
Libros.
Inexpensive kitchen scale. Did I say chicken scale?
Chicken scale.
I guess you could weigh your chicken on there too. Okay, there we go. Okay, we want 2 pounds is 24 ounces, right?
Right.
Okay, there we go.
It's 32.
32. Oh, I was right. There you go.
I was like, why is he getting it down? It's so exciting.
Okay, there you go. That's 2 pounds right there.
Okay.
And then we're gonna do another one. And I do this, and I've been making bread a long time. That's close enough. I've been baking bread a long time, and I always measure. I always weigh, even though I've been doing it for a long time.
That's
Because it just, especially when you have your children selling in the neighborhood, all the loaves have to look the same.
That's right. Door to door. Would you like
Okay, that was just a little bit big. So, okay, there you go. And this should be
This is 5 loaves, right?
Yeah, we should have 5 2-pound loaves. Isn't that perfect?
Loaves.
There we go. That's absolutely beautiful.
Okay, that is awesome. So now we have our 5 pans.
So we get our 5 pans here. And we're just gonna give them a light spraying. Even when they're non-stick, I like to give them a light spraying, don't you?
Yeah.
It just assures that they come out.
Yeah, that one's good.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're gonna form our loaves.
Okay.
Okay.
So when you form your loaves, how do you do yours?
I just kind of flatten it out a little bit.
Okay.
Fold it in, one side, and just kind of work it. And this is the fun part. Get the air out and take all your frustrations out of the day. Just get that out. Beautiful.
Oh, fabulous.
It's beautiful. Okay,
Yeah.
then you just set it in.
Here, you can whack that one.
Oh, okay, oh, good. Like I have a lot of frustrations today.
Oh, okay, here we go.
None at all.
Perfect, perfect. So it's good to have a buddy help you do bread,
Doesn't it feel beautiful?
It's so fast. It's so like beautifully warm and the texture is perfect.
Yeah,
this gluten
it's
is
gonna
so
rise
developed.
really fast. You know, the thing about a Bosch mixer, you can literally have 5 loaves of bread from start to finish in about an hour and 10 minutes.
Hour and 10.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
an hour and 10 minutes.
That's so fast. Plus that Saf yeast. That's the magic
that
right
really
there.
makes a big deal.
Okay.
Oh, that looks beautiful. There you
Okay.
go.
Cool beans. I
you
didn't
go.
whack it though. All right.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't whack it?
There we go.
Just
Okay.
Get that frustrated. There you go.
Okay. Beautiful bread. Okay, so how long do you let it raise?
It's going to take about 20 to 25 minutes.
That's so fast.
We're going to let it rise till double. I always tell my kids, say, what's double? Well, this would be double, like that. That's about
right,
double,
that's
okay? So you want to let it rise to double, and then we're going to bake it, and we'll talk about that process next.
Okay, it has risen till it's doubled. It's
looks
ready
beautiful.
to go. Our oven is preheated to
400 degrees.
400 degrees. Why?
Okay, we always preheat. Chef Tess and I do the same thing.
too.
We always preheat to 400 degrees
Yes.
because we have found that your oven can be off anywhere from 25, 30 degrees.
Yeah, it really.
And it's what you want to have happen when you put the bread in the oven, you want it to have a jump. And then you
spring.
want it to stop.
Then you want to stop and set the structure on top.
Right. If it doesn't, if your temperature is too low, it keeps growing.
The yeast keeps going.
And
Life
you get
finds
big
a way.
cracks on the side of your bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we ready?
Yeah, let's stick it in the
let's
oven.
do this.
Perfect. Perfect. Beautiful. And we're cooking in a convection bake, so we can use both racks.
Right, because that circulation of the air just makes it work awesome. So you can do 5 at once.
Beautiful.
Okay,
now we're
then
gonna
how
put
long
this
at
in
400?
about 20 to 25 minutes. So we're just gonna change the temperature here, drop it to 335, push start, and we're gonna come back in about 20 to 25 minutes and we're gonna check the temperature with an instant read bread thermometer to make sure it's cooked perfectly.
I love that. Okay, it's ready.
It's ready. Remember, start to finish, an hour and 10 minutes, you can have fresh baked bread. But the first thing we're gonna do, we have an instant read bread thermometer. We love these. This is gonna check the temperature of the bread. That way, when you start using different grains, you never quite know. This way, it'll never go wrong. So at 180 degrees or more, your bread is done. So I take my thermometer and I'm just gonna stick it into the end, not touching the pan, and slide it in there. And that is just flying right up there. It's 180 degrees. Perfect. We know it's done.
So your bread should do a 180.
180, there you
Love
go. And we're gonna pull this out of the oven
Okay.
and just slide them over there. Oh, it looks beautiful.
Now when your bread comes out of the oven, take it right out of the pan. You're gonna have a better chance of it not having a soggy crust if you do that. Right, Chef Brad?
Absolutely, it looks beautiful. It'll sweat. If you leave it in the pan too long, it will sweat. And you don't want to leave it in the pan. And then you can always butter the top or spray it with a little bit of the pan spray to make it look pretty. But
Okay.
isn't it just beautiful?
It's so pretty. Ooh, I love it. I don't know why I'm using a cloth.
But we should just cut into this. What
I
do you
think
think? And
so.
just see what it looks like on the inside.
Oh, okay.
Nice and crusty, isn't that beautiful?
Look at that. Okay, you guys gotta see
There
this.
we go.
It's
There we
crazy
go.
pretty. The crust is so delicate and beautiful.
And look at the
how
inside.
fluffy and wonderful that is.
It's just beautiful.
Oh,
Nice and
my
light.
gosh.
And this is almost 100% whole grain bread. We just used a little bit of white flour, the artisan white, but we have that 9-grain mix in it and fresh ground flour. Bread making has never been easier or better.
Hour and 10 minutes. That's crazy.
Isn't it amazing?
I love it.
We love it.
Okay, there you go. Make yourself some amazing bread. Thank you, Chef Brad.
Thank you.
If if you are interested in any of the amazing products you have seen here today, come and visit us
at honeyvillegrain.com.